Hey there, everybody. This is J.R. Burgess with Health Evaders, and I'm here with Garrett Gunderson today. For those of you new to the audience, Health Evaders is about innovating health and wealth, innovative medical practitioners looking to add cutting-edge medicine that addresses the root cause in medicine such as functional medicine, regenerative orthopedic, and in order for them to help more people and be part of the solution to changing healthcare, it's learning about how to run better business systems, keep more money so you can invest into marketing, better team members, quality care. And that's why I'm so excited to have Garrett on today. Is I've seen you live multiple times, and this gentleman is the man for helping practitioners, entrepreneurs, leaders make more and take home more so they can have greater impact, income, and freedom that they're shooting for. So welcome, Garrett. I hope I did you an okay job. I know you have great accolades, and they're going to see more about the summit. You've done some amazing things with a lot of high-level people, but you mind just sharing quickly what it is that you do?
Yeah, we actually stumbled into working with a lot of people in the health profession, especially the proactive, preventive kind of wellness type of people. That happened more in 2008, but I started in financial services in 98 because I'd started a business, Garrett Gunderson's Car Care, at 15 years old, won $5,000 for being an entrepreneur of the year and wanted to invest that money. Found out the more questions I asked, the more confusing it became. And strangely enough, in asking those questions, I got offered an internship as a teenager, 19 years old, to go work for a financial firm. Which basically meant bring family and friends so we can peddle them products, essentially. And I started to question that as the market went down in 2000. Went on a 2-year, 2-month path of flying somewhere every single month to figure out what is it that people are doing that sustainably have wealth and that create legacy. And there's got to be something different than just buy, hold, and pray and set it and forget it and invest early, often, and always. And all the stuff I was being taught with the long haul kind of philosophies and the buy now, the market's on sale philosophies. And in that path, I figured out a lot of things. And it began with helping people keep more of what they make by saving a boatload of tax, saving on interest, saving on non-performing investment fees and hidden commissions, and restructuring insurances so that they don't have duplicate coverages or improper coverage that they're paying for that doesn't even give them any benefit. And so I became a bit of an efficiency nerd and expert and built a financial firm around that with some partners. And I've been doing this now, as of June, 20 freaking years, although I wouldn't say the first couple years was what I do now. And love working with kind of the health professionals that are accidental tourists into business. Not like they intended it, not they said, hey, I'm going to go to a bunch of school, get into a student loan in a big way to build wealth. No, it's like they wanted to help people. So I love to support people that want to help people, help them keep a lot more of what they make, build and grow their business is one of their key assets, and understand that their ability to produce is the most significant piece of this. So we don't want to do anything to derail or distract from that.
So one of the coolest things that I've appreciated about your offers, I go to a lot of conferences, medical conferences around the world, just like these docs, but you try to have ultimate value every step of the way. So meaning your promise, even when I heard you speak at the last conference, was I'm going to have you walk away immediately making more money. And you delivered on that promise.
And I gave you more comedy than I think I've ever given in any talk in my life.
And I do plan to talk about that there, as I laughed my tail off the whole time. It was just like, whoa, it's like, it was evolved to, I seen you 3 years earlier to, man, that was humorous, funny. It was different than what you get at a medical conference. So it was so cool and so engaging. But after that conference, not only did I save money by putting my kids in the business, by leveraging some of those simple things that I already had, pictures and branding and photography, but I also bought your program and learning and listening. And I was a financial advisor out of grad school. So meaning that was my first job. And it's just like, they don't teach you this. It's right. All those next level thinking. So a lot of our doctors have financial advisors, tax accountants, but this is next level stuff. So can you give me an example of a client that you've worked with that maybe is just like me, bought your program and implemented not just what you teach at the conference, what they're all going to learn and immediately make more money, and it's going to be 10 times worth their ticket just coming to see you. But tell me a little bit about a client that actually has done everything that you've asked.
So there's two people that popped into my head when you said this. One was a doctor that I just went to see for my own health in Pocatello, Idaho, and I have permission to share the story. Dr. Jason West. And part of the reason it's like at the top of my mind is he was just on American Ninja Warrior as the doctor that helped the wife of like the cowboy that is, you know, the bad A that goes and, you know, does American Ninja Warrior. And the wife had MS and is starting to see improvement, was able to actually go to the last competition. They did a whole story, and then Jason was able to go. So this guy has done everything and then some of what we've recommended. I mean, we started by saving him $144,000 in tax by going back the last 3 years, amending returns, and then the current year tax strategy, restructuring loans. Like, we did a lot of stuff to get the financial house in order in the first 3 months. Mm-hmm. But then as a patient, I was like, dude, why do you feel like you have to be the one that does everything? He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, when I come here, it's like, I'm waiting for hours and you're the one that's hustling. I'm like, I get it. You have amazing bedside manner. But we actually got to the point where he wrote multiple books. He built a TV studio. He started to record videos. He started to hire properly. He had other doctors do the work. Now, number one, when I go, it's a more efficient process. I get through faster. Number two, he's been able to make a bigger impact because he was at 1.7 when we started working with him in revenue, and he crossed the 5.5 million threshold 3.5 years later. So, like, he's an extreme example of like just going all in from A to Z. But let me talk about Dr. Mike real quick, because Mike is a guy that, you know, when he started working with him, this was way back. This was 10 years ago when we started working with him. The first thing is he actually just got more rejuvenated and excited about his purpose, and he was starting to get results. And so I did a phone call with him because someone that referred him said, hey, you should get to know him. So I get on the phone with him, and he tells me he has the best accountant in the world. And I'm like, well, dude, you're from nowhere, Illinois. You don't even have an airport where you're from. I don't really know that you have the very best. Why don't we at least look at your strategy, look at the last 3 years, see if there's any tweaks. And if he's the best in the world, you'll get a stamp of approval. If he's not, we'll find you some money. Well, I had to like entice him, and I even made a bet with him to get this to happen. Turns out, A, he was not incorporated, even though he's netting $375,000 of income per year. That is a 7-figure practice. B, he had a building and he never done cost segregation, which would allow him to accelerate his depreciation because he didn't have an engineer. The other thing is he wasn't differentiating his income, where he was taking some salary and some dividends because he had other associates. And so what happened is we got $102,000 back from the previous 3 years, and moving forward, it was about $20,000 a year. Well, 4.5 years later, he gets audited, and he's like panicked because he's like, oh my God, like I'm going to jail because I just saved so much money, right? And I was like, dude, we're going to save you money during the audit. And he's like, there's no way. Made another bet with him. We saved him $5,500 during the audit because everything was in order. Everything was taken care of properly. It's just that now we were paying his kids that were under 18. We did the cost segregation. We had the S corporation and paid him a different way, even though it was the same amount of income. Like, we just did some very black and white, straightforward things that his accountant was more about just filing his taxes, not coordinating with the engineer for the cost segregation or an attorney for the corporate structure. And so he was missing out on some things. Well, you know, that's just a couple really quick examples. We just filmed an extensive video with Dr. Chris Zano, who is, you know, now living in Park City, Utah, and his practice is in the woodlands of Texas. And so he's done a lot in the last few years that we've worked together. And what's funny is we didn't have him do more practices. Like, that was something he thought he was going to come to us for. We actually said, why don't you just maximize the one practice? And he started seeing a lot more patients and adding additional services. So those are a high-level view of a couple clients.
Yeah, and that's a great point that you offer. A lot of doctors get into this space and they have shiny object syndrome to let me add this service, that service, location number 2. But unless you've completely maximized your taxes, your bread and butter, your core focus, you're really pulling away when you move too fast without the right team and the right pieces in place. And I know that's part of your offer is you, after people buy your program or they come learn, they are invited to bring their accountant, their partners. You've had structures, you have content, you have homework, you have things that isn't a lot of work, but it's really about getting everybody on the same page to maximize everything that a practitioner is doing from a business perspective.
Yeah, we just did a workshop last week, and this woman brought her 76-year-old father who's been her CPA her whole life. And what we talk about is quite a bit different than what he's been trained in and what he's even talked to her about. And day one, he was reading the newspaper, arms folded a little bit. Day 2, he's asking questions. Day 3, he's like, I wish I was younger so I could have implemented a lot of this sooner. Like, so we've had such great success when people bring their existing financial team, because we never intend to just uproot and replace financial members.
We're not trying to do that.
We want to put people in when someone that isn't
performing
handled at all, or if something's broken. But otherwise, we're here to enhance and handle a lot of the things that they don't want to address, they don't want to handle, and that they don't get paid to handle. So we become a really nice team member to that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's pretty exciting. And I know you're coming here and you're talking about wealth management. You're talking about taking more. Can you give me an idea besides major humor? They're in for a gut roll, which is not used to a conference. So they're going to have energy, they're going to have passion, they're going to have humor, but they're going to walk away. Can you give an example of one of those pearls that you've kind of gave to those in the audience that they can get prepared for? And you don't just give one. I wish we had time today to go over all of them, but we want you to come see them live and in person as one of those simple tips that is immediately of value for people that they may not be doing right now.
I'm going to teach people the 5 levers to create economic independence. And economic independence is where you have enough recurring revenue or cash flow that comes from assets like investments or entrepreneurial income, which is when you're not table side or chair side next to the patient, that covers your basic life expenses. That's economic independence. And so I'm going to give people the 5 leverage points that when they learn this, it doesn't require risk. It actually lowers risk because we're leveraging a framework rather than leveraging money. The first thing is we're going to show them how to boost the bottom line without having to cut back or sacrifice. So just keep more of every dollar you make. The second thing is we're going to show people how to get everything working together, identify the economic independence number, and then reverse engineer what the plan is to get there. I call it strategically engineering wealth. The third piece is we're going to find out everywhere where they don't have cash flow from assets that can actually provide cash flow and show them how to turn that cash flow on to accelerate the economic independence. Then the fourth piece, so the first one is keep more money. Second is strategically engineer wealth. Third is to accelerate investment income. The fourth piece is we're going to show them how to scale business revenue in a simplistic yet profound way, where we're just letting go of one rung of a ladder to grab the next rung. Sometimes when people try to scale, they take on too much and they're overwhelmed. So we show them a process of proper delegation, which everyone that thinks they're a good delegator, we're going to rock their world with one simple thing. Second, we're going to show them how to leverage hot topics and claim their authority as one of the major components to scale when you're a doctor. And I'll have some other insights there too. And then the fifth piece to lever, or the fifth lever is to make it count, which is you're your greatest asset, not a stock, not a bond, not even a piece of real estate or your business. So we're making sure that you understand there's not a second chance to build the life you love and create a legacy that lasts. So it's designing what success looks like for you, how you want to live your life along the way, creating the proper parameters and the financial structure to support that. That brings the whole thing together. So I'm going to show them how to get economically independent faster. And we're going to emphasize lever 1, keeping more of what you make. I'm going to give you the 2 things to avoid in tax and the 3 things to do in tax, that once you know the framework, there's going to be a myriad of things and ideas that you're going to be able to start implementing to keep more money legally and ethically. Second, I want to show you how to restructure loans, renegotiate interest rates, differentiate expenses, and figure out how to access money at a much easier and cheaper way so that you can keep more of what you make that way with every loan that you ever incur. The third thing is show you how to detect hidden fees, commissions, and non-performing fees with investments so you have no more headwind against your assets, which should lead to 6 or 7 figures more during your lifetime. And then finally, I might mention, but won't spend too much time, how do you get rid of unnecessary, ridiculous insurances and only insure the catastrophic and make sure it's done properly so that you're transferring as much risk as possible and minimizing the cost while you're doing that. So I'll go through those areas, particularly spending most of the time in the tax side, a little bit of time in what we call cash flow optimization, and then giving some highlights of each one of those levers. So it'll be stuff you can put on the ground in 24 hours and improve your life. I'm going to show you how to automate your savings and be a more deliberate investor. I'm going to show you how you don't have to cut back and how you can eliminate budgeting and what to do instead that's going to get you further ahead, and how you can live wealthy along the way, not just wait for retirement. Let's redefine retirement to be a place where you retire into something, not from something, because you're not exhausted and your mission and vision is big enough that you don't quit it. You just make sure that you get many retirements along the way.
Absolutely. And I'm so excited for that because honestly, everybody, I haven't had walk out of a conference moment where I immediately save $15,000 without investing in the back end. We are just under 10 million between our two companies this year. So when I'm already now doing some of the coursework and going through it, I estimate by doing nothing different than how we operate business today of saving no less than $100,000 thanks to your help. And that's money that can go into marketing, to bringing in a key staff member, to product innovation and develop, which we're always staying in front of, because that's what innovating health and wealth is this is cutting edge medicine. It takes risk. It takes, doing what others, being outside of the box, and you need revenue to do that. And then you need cash flow so you don't lose one business while you're creating that cash flow to do the next thing. So intelligent business operations. And so we'll save the rest. And I'm so excited for them to learn that. And I know our guests are going to thank me just because of your presentation anyway.
And you won't be bored while you're talking about money and finance. That's
not at all. I'm almost worried slightly because I got a huge sense of humor. And it's like, who's going to attack me for this? But everybody else was laughing in the room like crazy. And so if you're crude and you don't like any humor, just put on your earmuffs for 30 minutes. But
I'll be on good behavior, but still bring some humor.
It was perfectly fine. I'm just joshing, but somebody that doesn't like humor might not like you, but we don't want them in here anyways then. So I know, Garrett, in business, and this is the message to all the doctors that I ever work with, is we want to develop champions, and champions are ones that take responsibility. Nobody else is going to create wealth for you. Nobody else is going to do the work that you need to do unless you give them the format, the structure, the framework, the accountabilities, the expectations. So can you tell me a little bit about when you were just getting into business? What was that main hurdle you needed to overcome? And then today, I know you got, more ideas to continue to impact more people. What is that challenge you have to overcome today to get to that next level of serving more people and having to have the legacy and impact that you desire?
Today, I think that Warren Buffett says it really well. He says, the difference between a successful entrepreneur and a highly successful entrepreneur is a successful entrepreneur is addicted to yes. The highly successful entrepreneur says no, 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 and only says yes to those things that are fully aligned with their mission, vision, and values. So that's the greatest challenge now, is to say, what am I going to allocate my time towards? And how do I create scale and leverage without inviting additional risk? So we're actually training other financial firms now. That's a big step for us because we've been doing this within Wealth Factory because it creates a lot of leverage and scale. If I look back into business and when I started, one is I was confused thinking that if I just worked harder than everyone else, I would be better off than everyone else. But I was neglecting my health. I didn't have much of a life. And even though I lived in Utah, and people would be like, oh, do you ski? I'm like, no, I have a business. And they're like, yeah, but what do you do for fun? Business. That's all I was about during my 20s. And that takes a toll on you. And it also limits your vision of your business, because when you're Superman and you swoop in to save the day and you're always doing so much in your business, you don't allow people to grow. And for me, learning how to hire properly was one of the greatest challenges and also one of the most significant changes in the business. Learning that I didn't have to do everything, and then narrowing my life down to 5 main things. Number 1, being responsible for the what and the why, or being the main catalyst behind the vision. Number 2, focusing on 3 content things, either creating new ideas, workbooks, workshops, or videos, or writing books, and then finally developing high-level relationships, which meant I had to have people handle operations. I had to have people that handled coaching and had to give up coaching. And so going through that process of being really good at something and being familiar with it, and then saying, is this serving the highest purpose? All I would do is look at my calendar at the end of every day and say, does my calendar reflect the man that I want to be and the business I want to create? And what things did I do today that someone else is capable of doing, whether we have them in the team or not, that allows me to do the things that no one else is going to do, that allows me to really be a change agent in the world of finance and wealth?
That's very powerful stuff. So early days, what I can sum that up is it was all about learning how to manage, motivate, delegate, and sell. Nobody else is going to be your brand, create. Nobody else is going to do the work that the owner and the entrepreneur needs to be through, but we can get other people who are amazing team members that can follow the structure, that can be led with right expectations. We can develop those people. And then later, and that's what I'm going through right now, Garrett, I've worked very, very hard the last 9 years, and so has Dr. Baumgartner and our team, but it's came at a health consequence. Fatigue. My Lyme's disease nearly brought me down. I just ruptured my Achilles tendon 3 years ago. So you're going to see me at Mindshare in a walking boot if you're going there this year. I am living proof of that exact words. And I've gotten, and it's a fine line, because I've gotten where I've gotten to by being a yes guy, by working harder and doing it, but it will no longer take me to freedom, impact, and wealth. And that's, the main lesson. I'm learning that the hard way. It's time to be instead of do. And I have to step in being to do that. So thank you for being so transparent, honest. So excited to have you here. You're going to crush it just like you've crushed it at every other event to do. So excited for our doctors to come and have somebody that can take them to a next level. That's not my skill of expertise. That's why we're so excited to have that you join our network. So I'm just jazzed for it.
Thanks for having me, JR. It's going to be a lot of fun.
All right. Thanks, Garrett. And we'll see you at our Cash Practice Success Summit, September 14th through the 16th. Don't miss this. I promise this will save you money and you won't regret it. And then, yes, you're going to learn to build a team. You're going to learn to market. You're going to learn influence and those skills that are actually going to change patients' lives so you can love what you do and have the impact that you truly desire. Thank you, Garrett, and we'll see you in September.
All right, man. Take care. Thanks again.